7 sinister decisions that haunted lives forever. Unexplained choices revealed the terror within. Mia Sanchez sat in her room, the faint smell of fresh grass wafting through her window. Outside, the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the quiet suburban streets. But inside, a chilling thought gnawed at her. What if her neighbors weren't who they seemed? What if beneath the laughter, barbecues, and warm smiles lurked dark secrets, unseen terrors that haunted their lives? Her pulse quickened as she recalled the hushed tones drifting from the kitchen, where her mother, Laura, held intense conversations late into the night. The familiar comfort of their close-knit community began to unravel in her mind, dissolving into the whispers that filled the air. The sheer thought was enough to make her palms sweat. What if her father, the respected town councilman, was entwined in something sinister? She'd seen the warnings on the internet about 7 sinister decisions, choices that haunted lives forever, and now it all felt far too real. Determined to unravel the truth, Mia snuck out into the darkening evening. The air hummed with unease, encasing the neighborhood in an eerie, suffocating silence. Her sneakers crunched against the cracked asphalt, an unwelcome reminder of the disappearances that had recently rattled the town. Names whispered among her friends like shadows that couldn't be caught. Who had vanished? And where had they gone? As Mia approached the park, she spotted familiar faces, the Johnsons and others, their voices low, their expressions veiled in secrecy. The light from the street lamp washed over them, swallowing their laughter, leaving behind only anxious glances toward the overgrown lot that had once been a playground. She squeezed between 2 scraggly bushes, heart racing, as panic clawed at her throat. The warm, homey scent of dinner wafted through the air, a stark contrast to the cold sweat gathering at her back. Mia, she heard a voice say, one she recognized all too well. The voice of her father. She felt the world tilt beneath her feet, her breath catching in her chest. Out there, in the dark, under the flickering lights, her community was gathered around secrets she was never meant to find. The way they huddled in groups, exchanging furtive looks, filled her with dread and curiosity. She felt like Alice in Wonderland. Only the rabbit hole led not to adventure, but to terror. Just then, she heard the name again, her father's murmured low, like a dark echo creeping through the branches. We can't let him do it. Murmurs spiraled around her like a noose. The weight of their whispers pressed against her, and she realized she was surrounded by those she had trusted. Was this what her mother was worried about in those late-night talks? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Fear slammed against Mia's chest. Her father, the man who tucked her in at night, might be mixed up in this. What choices had he made that could make everyone so afraid? As they exchanged glances that shimmered with treachery, Mia felt the air shift, pressing in on her, invading her sanctuary. Her heart pounded. The chill of uncertainty trickled down her spine. She had crossed a line, stepped into a world where nothing was as it seemed. The shadows whispered promises of betrayal, the fabric of her world wearing thin. As she backed away slowly, her feet barely making a sound, she couldn't shake the feeling that whatever trust she had left was drifting out of reach. That night, as her mother tucked her in, Mia lay wide awake, the darkness stretching like a creeping terror. Who can she trust when the very people who protect her may be harboring sinister secrets? The whispers from the park echoed in her mind, a reminder that the upcoming dawn held no guarantees. The tangled web of her once perfect family began to unravel, and beneath the surface, the night promised deeper horrors yet to be uncovered. Mia's mind raced as she lay in bed, the shadows swirling around her like encroaching phantoms. Sleep felt like a distant memory, tainted by the chilling whispers that lingered in her thoughts. Every creak of the house, every rustle from outside, transformed into a sinister sound echoing the fear she harbored. Was her father truly involved in something dark? The questions gnawed at her until she felt hollow. The next morning dawned, but sunlight offered little comfort. It slinked through her window, illuminating the chaos within her. She pulled on a hoodie, wishing it might shield her from more than the chill in the air. Breakfast was a silent affair, her mother's eyes darting nervously across the table, as though they were both aware of the unspoken tension permeating their home. "Are you okay, Mia?" Laura's voice was small, tremulous. It was a question masking deeper concerns, lingering fears of what might lie beneath the surface of their family life. "Yeah, just tired," Mia replied, avoiding her mother's gaze. The last thing she needed was for her mother to probe deeper. When she stepped outside, the world felt different. The air was thick, weighted with an unspeakable dread that seemed to have settled over the neighborhood. Children rode bikes, their laughter a stark contrast to the ominous thoughts swirling in Mia's head. She managed to smile and waved at a few friends, but felt like an imposter in her own life. Mia knew she needed answers. The whispers hadn't stopped. They echoed louder in her mind, forming a constant background of noise that set her teeth on edge. She decided to head to the park again, the site of all those conspiratorial gatherings. Her heart raced as she thought of what she might find. As she made her way through the familiar streets, a dark intuition curled around her something was coming. The closer she got to the park, the more palpable the tension became. The air crackled with unrest, and shadows danced ominously in the corners of her vision. She ducked into the thicket behind the trees, stuck between branches in fear, listening intently. "Did you hear about the old shed?" A voice, belonging to a neighbor she barely knew, startled her. "They found something last night, something they're not talking about." "What could it be?" Another, younger voice replied. "Maybe traces of them." Mia's heart dropped. The them could only refer to the missing kids, the ones whispers around school insisted were connected to her father's circle. Had he been involved in something so dire? She felt bile rise in her throat, her mind drawing dark conclusions. Mia shifted closer, ignoring the biting branches that brushed against her as she strained to catch every word. "It's worse than we thought. They want to stop him now. Then he needs to be stopped," the first voice said, low and threatening, "before it's too late." She felt lightheaded. The realization hit like a freight train. The stakes were higher than anything she had imagined. Her father was not just caught up in something. He was potentially endangering lives. Just then, branches snapped behind her. Mia spun around, heart racing, the sound chilling her to the bone. "Who's there?" she whispered, every muscle in her body tense, ready to flee. No answer came, only silence that felt alive, pulsing around her. Dread coiled as she strained to listen, the words she had overheard now crashing against her thoughts like relentless waves. The newly discovered shed, her father's actions, were they connected? And then she heard it, a soft, hunched breathing right behind her. The air grew colder, and in that moment, she felt like prey. "Run," the voice whispered, more like a hiss. Mia's instincts kicked in. She turned to bolt just as she caught a glimpse of a shadow flickering at the edge of the trees, ready to spring. What had she stumbled upon? With panic clawing at her throat, she dashed back home, the weight of every secret pressing down on her, knowing that whatever she uncovered was only the beginning. Mia's feet pounded against the cracked pavement as she raced home, adrenaline fueling her flight. She barely registered the familiar sights, her streetlights, and the old oak tree at the corner. All that consumed her was the echo of the warning. "Run!" She burst through the door, the familiar scent of home wrapping around her like a comfort blanket, if only it still felt that way. Panic surged up her throat, and she leaned against the wall, desperately trying to catch her breath. Her mother was in the kitchen, the sound of a pot clanging against the stove cutting through the tension. "Mia, is everything okay?" Laura called, concern lacing her voice. "Yeah," Mia shouted back, her voice strangely flat. "Just tired." The words tasted like ash. She needed to process the weight of her discovery and the shadow that had loomed behind her. Why had someone warned her? Who was that voice? She could feel panic creeping back in, the air thickening again, like the walls were closing in. She moved to her room, shutting the door with a shaky hand and leaning against it. Her mind raced with jumbled thoughts. What had happened in the shed? Who had been behind her? Her heart ached for answers, but dread pulled her down, making each breath feel heavy. Hours crept by. Afternoon light slipped away, surrendering to twilight. She lay on her bed, staring blankly at the ceiling, her mind wrestling with darkness. The shadows deepened, and the whispers returned, dancing just beyond her grasp. She picked up her phone without thinking, scrolling through old messages, desperate for distraction. "See you in the morning?" a friend texted. Mia bit her lip, contemplating the sudden reality of her isolation. What could she say? "Sorry, but I'm dealing with shadows and potentially my father's dark secrets." Fear gripped her. The idea of sharing anything only seemed to deepen the pit in her stomach. Finally, the tension in her chest drove her back out into the night. She wrapped her hoodie tighter around herself, preparing to confront the encroaching shadows outside, to know for certain what had shaken her family. The streets felt different under the pale moonlight. The glowing silvery orb above seemed to mock her apprehension, illuminating the sidewalk where she walked with a calculated purpose. She approached the park again, a chill dancing down her spine. Whole branches swayed overhead as if whispering secrets of their own. As she walked toward the old shed, each step felt heavier. The air was still, saturated with foreboding, and the night sounds seemed to hush, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Mia crept closer, her heart thudding wildly in her chest as she glanced around. A figure emerged from the shadows at the far end of the park, a familiar silhouette draped in darkness. Her breath hitched. It was Ryan, a boy from school. "What are you doing here?" he called, his voice low but steady, tinged with trepidation. "You shouldn't be here, Mia." His words sent a jolt of anxiety through her. "I could ask you the same. Did you hear what they said about the shed?" Ryan swallowed hard, his eyes darting nervously. "I heard. None of it is safe, Mia. You're getting too close. It's not just about your dad. It goes deeper." "What do you mean?" She pressed, stepping closer to him, captivated. Before he could answer, a loud crash echoed from the shed, a sharp, piercing sound that cut through her curiosity and lodged fear deep in her chest. "Did you hear that?" Mia whispered, panic rising again. The shadows seemed to shift in that moment, pressing in closer around the shed. "Stay back," Ryan shouted just as the door swung open, revealing a figure shrouded in darkness. Mia's heart plummeted. What was hiding in the shed? The figure stepped into the moonlight, and as Mia gasped, the world around her seemed to shatter. Who was it, and what horrors were about to be unleashed? The figure stepped forward, and Mia's breath hitched as she took in the familiar face, now twisted by shadows. It was her father. Anger and despair mixed in her chest like a storm breaking loose. "Dad," she choked, her mind racing. "What are you doing here?" He didn't answer. His eyes were hollow, fixed on something in the distance, and something about him seemed off. "Mia, you shouldn't have come," Ryan said, stepping back, eyes wide with fear. "I told you to stay away." But curiosity clawed at her. "What happened to you? Why are you out here?" The emptiness in her father's gaze sent a jolt of terror through her. She felt like she was peering into a dark abyss, one that threatened to swallow her whole. "Did you hear what I said, Mia?" he rasped, his voice low and gravelly, almost unrecognizable. "You need to run." "Why?" The question fizzed with desperation. How could he think she'd leave him here, lost to the darkness? "You're my dad. You're not just going to stay here." His lips curled into an unsettling smile, one devoid of warmth. "I can't. It's too late for me." Behind him, shadows shifted like living things, swirling and undulating. Mia swallowed hard as she felt the weight of an invisible hand pressing against her throat, choking back the growing dread. "Ryan, come on," she urged, backing away from her father, who seemed to recede further into the darkness. "We have to go?" But Ryan remained rooted, spellbound by the nightmare unfolding before them. "You don't understand, Mia. There are things in there. They're not what they seem." "What are you talking about?" she shouted, desperation spilling over. "You think staying here is safer? We have to get out now." "No. Listen to me," Ryan said urgently, gesturing toward her father. "That is not him anymore. It's a warning. He is a puppet for whatever is in that shed." "Stop it," Mia screamed, shaking her head, tears brimming in her eyes. "Dad, please." Her father's features twisted further, becoming shadowy and enigmatic. In that moment, Mia's heartbeat amped up, each thud resonating against the oppressive silence of the night. She could feel the ground shift beneath her, a disquieting energy pulsating through the air. Suddenly, a horrific growl emanated from the shed, loud enough to rip through the suffocating silence. Ryan turned to her, his face pale with fear. Whatever is in there, it's coming. Mia's heart raced as the shadows began to converge at the entrance of the shed. Whispering voices echoed in her mind, barbed with uncertainty and dread. The air thickened, turning stifling. "Run," she shouted, pulling Ryan back toward the path. But her father's low voice ceased her flight. "You can't run from your blood, Mia. You're tied to this." The ground trembled as the air thickened with a sinister presence. Mia hesitated, torn between the monstrous figure of her father and the abyss of the shed. Ryan grabbed her arm, dragging her back a step. "We have to go? They're coming." "No," she cried, forcing herself to stand firm. "This is my family." Mia gnarled shape burst forth from the shed, a creature twisted with shadows and a chilling hunger. Its form was an impossible blend of nightmares come alive, reaching toward her with elongated fingers. "Run!" Ryan's voice broke through, urgent and fierce. Mia's instincts kicked in. She yanked her arm from Ryan's grip and bolted into the dark, heart pounding. But there was something weighing down her steps, not just the horrifying thing behind them, but a gnawing question. Had she just abandoned her father to whatever darkness consumed him? As the creature roared, Mia ran. The night swallowed her screams, and she could feel the breath of the beast at her back, closing in as the shadows danced and laughed. What trap had she walked into? And was there any escaping the grip of her bloodline? Mia sprinted toward the remnants of her life, trying to outrun what stalked her, terrified of the answer that awaited her at home. And then, another voice echoed from behind her, deeper and darker, sending chills racing down her spine, whispering the truth. "You're one of us now." What did it mean? Mia's feet pounded against the gravel-strewn path, urgency pushing her forward as she dodged shadows that clawed at her. Each breath burned in her lungs, the bitterness of fear mixing with the taste of panic. She could still hear the growl low and menacing echoing behind her, weaving through the trees like a living thing. She glanced back. The gnarled shape had stopped. It lingered just outside the shed, its silhouette bathed in a dark, pulsating light, as if hungering for the warmth of daylight it could never reach. Her father's face flickered in her mind, the hollow eyes, the warning voice, and she almost stumbled, momentarily lost in the guilt choking her heart. "Come on, Mia," Ryan urged her, his voice snapping her back to the present. He was further ahead, eyes wild and frantic. "What are you waiting for? I can't just leave him." The words tore from her throat. "Mia, you have to," he shouted back, fear tightening his every syllable. "He is not your dad anymore. We don't even know if that thing can." The creature howled. It was a sound that penetrated the night and coiled deep in Mia's gut, raising goosebumps on her skin. The beast seemed to draw strength from her indecision, and she knew deep down that her hesitation was a luxury she couldn't afford. "Just run," Ryan screamed. With a final glance back, she saw her father fully engulfed by shadows, lost to whatever nightmare had transformed him. They were wrong, he was still in there somewhere, drowning. But guilt would not save him. She stumbled after Ryan, her heart racing, a sense of dread brewing in the pit of her stomach. As they reached the end of the path, the trees thinned, leaving them exposed under the rising moonlight. "Mia, we need to find help." Ryan's voice was frantic, his eyes darting around in search of something, anything akin to safety. "What about the shed?" she breathed, realizing with horror that they had left that dark part of her life behind. "Forget the shed. If we go back, we'll be trapped." He was right. She had to focus on what was ahead. The distant streetlights flickered like beacons, promising safety. Her body surged ahead, driven by instinct, but the weight of the choices still choked her. And then it hit her, a realization like ice water. What if we tell someone? The police? No, you don't understand. Ryan swung around, desperation clawing at his face. This one TN like that. Do you seriously think anyone would believe us? Who are we supposed to tell? What we saw? That. They'll never make it to us in time. We need to survive this. A shadow loomed at the edge of her vision. The creature had followed them, deft and fluid, slinking through the trees like some nightmare mix of predator and prey. It lurched forward, its hunger palpable, and Mia felt an icy dread root her feet to the ground. "Run," Ryan yelled, and they turned to sprint again, but it felt futile. Each time they glanced back, the beast seemed closer, as if the very ground was aiding its pursuit. "Why is it after us?" Mia gasped, pain stabbing at her legs from the exertion. What does it want? It wants you, Ryan said sharply, a fear she had never seen in him before. You're a part of this. Your blood. Stop saying that, she shouted, shaking her head hard, as if denying his words could erase the truth. The ground trembled beneath them, hot breaths from the beast fanning their backs, and Mia was sure they wouldn't escape. But what would happen if they did? Remember the stories? About our family? The dark? The rituals? Shut up, she yelled again, desperation giving way to confusion. Mia, he snapped, pausing. You know it's true. We just need to figure out what to do with it. Panic twisted inside her, making her feel small in the face of whatever truth loomed behind the shadows. What had she walked into? What secrets lay hidden in her blood? But before she could voice a thought, the creature lunged forward. Darkness writhed and seethed, brushing against her skin and forcing her to make a choice. Would she confront the truth, face whatever had turned her family into monsters? Or would she keep running, deeper into the unknown, hoping for safety in not knowing? As she hesitated, wondering how much of her life would unravel with each decision, the shadows whispered the answer, seductive and sinister. What if the only way to break free was to embrace the darkness within? The ground shuddered violently, and for a moment, she felt everything hanging in the balance: her father's twisted face, the creature's menacing gaze, and the truth of her bloodline. Mia and Ryan crashed through the underbrush, the moonlight barely breaking through the canopy, each step a frantic sprint away from the growls echoing behind them. They stumbled across roots and thorns, the forest closing in like a trap. Panic clawed at Mia's throat, making her gasps come in short, jagged bursts. What do we do? She shouted, desperate for a plan that didn't involve looking back. We can't just keep running. We have to, Ryan gasped, determination mixing with fear in his wide eyes. There's got to be a place to hide anywhere. Ahead, the faint shadows of a small town bled through the trees. Lights glimmered like stars against a backdrop of night, but the thought of safety felt flimsy. That awful howl echoed once more, sending a shiver down Mia's spine. What if it follows us? She panted, her heart racing faster than her legs could carry her. It will, he settled, grim acceptance in his voice. But if we don't find somewhere to stand our ground? His words hung in the air, heavy with dread. Mia's mind flashed back to the blurry memories of whispered warnings, tales told by fireside light. Those stories from her childhood had brimmed with dark warnings, bloodlines, curses, and what it meant to carry the weight of their past. They seeped into her mind like liquid shadows. If what Ryan said was true, if her lineage was a door to darkness, what price would she pay? They stumbled into the town square, empty and eerily quiet. Shadows danced under the dim streetlights, and every flicker felt like an omen. A chill ran through her as they skidded to a stop in front of a rundown diner. We can hide in here, Ryan said, urgency laced through his words. But what if it finds us? I can't face it. Panic bubbled within her, but Ryan took her shoulders, pulling her close. Mia, listen to me. We have to face it. If it wants you, hiding won't help. We've got to stand, and his words froze in his throat as they both turned to see the creature emerging from the woods. It slipped between the trees like liquid night. Its eyes glowed unnaturally beneath the flickering lights, surveying them, hungry and impatient. The growl built, a gravelly rumble shaking the ground beneath their feet. Options rushed through Mia's mind like blades. Flight or fight, hide or confront. What do we do? She whispered, trembling. Do you think anyone might help us? Ryan suggested, his voice barely above a breath. No, she said sharply, frustration cutting through her fear. They wouldn't understand. They wouldn't believe us. The beast edged forward, its silhouette outlined in the pale glow, a monstrous reminder of the reality they faced. It stopped, its nostrils flaring, as if it could taste the air thick with fear. Mia felt her skin crawl. Maybe I could distract it. Buy you time to run. Ryan's eyes sparkled with a dangerous resolve, but it was laced with fear, too. No. Mia caught his arm, a wild desperation tightening her grip. You can't. This isn't a game, Ryan. This is real. For a split second, the terror pooled between them, and one question echoed through the roar of adrenaline. Would she really sacrifice him to save herself? Before she could respond, The beast sprang forward with a terrifying speed, jaws snapping dangerously close. They bolted toward the diner. Inside, the scent of stale coffee mixed with fear. The darkness enveloped them like a shroud as they backed against the counter. Ryan pulled a knife, his hand shaking. "What now?" he whispered fiercely, eyes darting to the windows, breath visible in the cold air, expectant. Mia felt her heart race in rhythm with the pounding outside, the creature circling their hiding spot, as a flicker of resolve ignited within her. She could feel the shadows beckoning, whispering truths from the depths of her bloodline. Maybe there's a way to use this, whatever it is, against it. "What do you mean?" Ryan's eyes widened, fear and confusion mingling. A sudden boom echoed behind them. The beast slammed into the door, rattling the frame. Mia's voice trembled, but determination cut through the fear. "We can't confront it. We have to. What if we die?" he said, ragged, a plea in the desperate dim light. "Then let us die knowing we fought." The beast howled again, snapping at the door. Mia felt the pull of her family's legacy, the dark secrets whispering in her mind. She had to embrace the truth, even if it meant facing the terror within. As the door groaned under the strain of the creature's weight, Mia's grasp on herself tightened. There was no turning back. The final choice loomed ahead. Would she seize the shadowy power in her blood, or would they succumb to the beast that hunted them? The door splintered under the force, and the creature's eyes glowed like embers as it pushed through the threshold. In that split second, everything teetered at the edge of the abyss. Mia took a breath filled with fear, but also a whisper of power that began to crackle through her veins. What had she become, and what were they about to unleash? Mia's heart hammered in her chest as the door shattered, fragments flying like deadly shrapnel. The creature loomed tall, its monstrous form spilling into the diner, dark and hulking, an avatar of fear given life. Its breath came in raspy bursts, a visceral reminder of the predator it was. "Ryan," she hissed, frantically searching for a way to confront this nightmare. The knife in his hands trembled violently as his eyes darted around, seeking an escape that might not exist. "Where do we go?" His voice cracked, barely a whisper. "Stay? We have to face it." The words burst from Mia, fueled by a blend of desperation and unexpected resolve. Shadows flickered deep within her mind. What if this was part of her heritage? What if the darkness was waiting for her to wield it? The creature lunged forward, snapping its massive jaws, inching ever closer to the counter where they cowered. Instinct drove Mia forward as she felt the pulse of her lineage. "Let it come," she shouted, her voice echoing against the bare walls. Ryan looked at her, horror painted on his face. "You can't be serious." But a shudder vibrated through the air, a current of power she had never known. "I have to." Mia felt the shadows coil around her, both comforting and terrifying. "There's something in me, Ryan. I can feel it." As the beast roared, a ragged sound that rumbled through her bones, Mia's breath caught in her throat. She stepped forward, hand outstretched toward the creature. Time slowed as a dark energy wrapped around her, mingling with the dread that had become her constant companion. The beast halted mid-lunge, its glowing eyes narrowing. It seemed to sense the shift, as if it had stumbled upon a rival. For a brief moment, Mia felt a connection, a tug between their souls. "I am not afraid of you," she bellowed, voicing fears that had plagued her existence. Howls echoed through the diner, unnerving and discordant. The creature backed up slowly, its wariness apparent. That realization struck like lightning. The power surged, and with it, whispers from the shadows started to solidify into memories. A sibling, a bond long severed, a legacy whispered through generations. "Ryan," Mia cried out, knowing she had to be strong not just for her, but for both of them. "Remember the stories, the ones about our family, about facing monsters?" His voice faltered, eyes wide with disbelief. "Those tales aren't just tales." Mia pressed, heart racing. They were warnings. "We need to confront what this creature represents. It's time to fight, not just against it, but with what we carry." The beast crouched, its muscles tense. She could see the veins of darkness running through its form, twisted echoes of her own bloodline. Adrenaline coursed through her, filling her with an ancient knowing. Mia took a step back, forcing a deep breath, grounding herself. The diner's shadows danced wildly, as if the very walls were alive, mirroring her inner conflict. She had to trust in what was buried deep within her. "Okay, Mia, let us do this," Ryan's voice cracked, dread lacing his words. She could feel the connection pulling taut, drawing them closer. "We are more than what we fear. We hold power that can break it." The creature emitted a howl that vibrated through the air, raw and pained. It lunged, but Mia raised her arms, channeling the depths of her lineage, feeling the shadows thread through her fingers. "You will not take us." Lightning-like energy erupted around her, spiraling toward the beast, and in that instant, a flicker of doubt surged through its eyes. It hesitated, caught between the predator and the newfound power before it. In that moment of potential, everything hung in a delicate balance, a choice that could shift the very fabric of their reality. But a dark whisper interrupted her focus, a warning that echoed through her bones. "Don't let it control you." A quick glance from Ryan told her he was ready, but was she strong enough for what was to come? The shadows throbbed with a heartbeat of their own, their whispers growing louder, more insistent. Would she embrace the terror, or would it consume her? With the monster below them stirred, eyes burning with a fury, she was faced with a choice. Would she delve deeper, or would she pull back? The threshold beckoned. What happens when the line between power and destruction blurs? The air crackled with energy, a desperate electricity that pulsated through Mia's veins. As she stood there, heart racing, she sensed the shadows vibrating with a dark enthusiasm, demanding her attention. Every instinct screamed for her to hold back, to protect herself. Yet, there was an undeniable pull, an echo of a destiny she barely understood. The creature's eyes glowed like embers, burning with a mixture of fury and confusion. It seemed to pause, sensing the volatile energy thrumming around Mia. She could feel Ryan beside her, his presence both grounding and unsettling. His breath was shaky, but the flicker of determination in his gaze told her he wouldn't abandon her. "Whatever you do, don't let it touch you," he whispered urgently. Raw fear coated his voice. But Mia felt the shadows whisper in response, promising power, understanding, and revenge against a lifetime of being hunted. "I need to tap into it just for a moment," she murmured, more to herself than to him. Time warped, stretching into an eternity as she encouraged the darkness inside her, holding her breath in anticipation. "Let it come to me. I am ready," she shouted, and the shadows surged, swirling violently around her, each flicker igniting more than just fear. The creature screamed, a resonant roar that shook the diner's very foundation. It lunged at her, claws outstretched, teeth glimmering like knives in its monstrous maw. "Now!" Mia shouted. Energy erupted from her, a cascading wave of shadows that crashed into the beast like a storm. The creature reeled back, an inhuman sound escaping its throat as it staggered against the diner wall. But even in her moment of power, a shard of fear tore through her. What if this darkness was consuming her? Flashes of memory swirled around her, hazy images of her family entwined with shadows, battling against things that dwelled in the dark. They had lost, but she was different. It was all in her blood. But every ancestor had a price, and she could feel the weight of that legacy pressing against her lungs. "Come on, Mia." Ryan's voice broke through her reverie, filled with an urgency that shook her free of any uncertainty. "You're stronger than it." She clenched her fists, releasing a stream of chaotic energy that bound the creature momentarily. It screeched, thrashing wildly, revealing raw patches of skin beneath clumps of fur, a grotesque sight that only fueled her anger. But amidst the chaos, something shifted. The creature's back arched, and dark tendrils shot out, reaching toward the shadows still clinging to Mia. Instinctively, she jerked back, hard in her throat. The very fabric of the darkness she embraced now barreled toward her. It wanted control. "No, this ends now." Mia pushed back, focusing on her memories, her lineage. The whispers evolved into shouts, chanting fragments of her ancestors' battles. As the two forces converged, Ryan stepped forward. "Mia, stop. You're losing yourself." His voice cut deep, reaching through the fog of her power. And with it, a moment of clarity, the realization that she needed to command the darkness, not be its vessel. But just as she gathered that strength, the creature roared again, redoubling its assault. The temperature of the diner plummeted, an icy chill crawling into the corners. Every shadow twisted tighter, almost sentient, pulling away from her control. "Ryan," she screamed, terror rising within her. "It's trying to take me." He lunged toward her, barely dodging a swipe from the beast. As their eyes locked, she saw the fear that mirrored her own, but also a fierce resolve, a will to fight. She remembered the bond they shared, built through countless threats. That thought alone sparked warmth within her. "I can't do this alone." And as if the universe heard her plea, the shadows bulged and twisted, bursting forth with renewed vigor. Mia was no longer afraid of it. This was her fight. In that instant, she felt the bloodline of her ancestors coursing through her, filling her with borrowed strength. She lifted her hands, commanding the shadows, bending them into a formidable barrier between her and the beast. The creature snarled and lunged again, but she stood firm, a beacon ignited by the light of her newfound understanding. But then came the most unnerving realization: the beast was adapting. It emitted a sound, a low growl that reverberated deep in her bones, and she sensed something else rise alongside its rage. An intelligence, a desperate cunning masked behind fearsome eyes. "Ryan, we have to." Before she could finish, the beast lunged once more, its claws poised to strike. What will happen when sheer desperation turns into manipulation? Is the darkness truly in control, or is Mia stronger than she dares to believe? The moment Mia's power surged, the diner erupted into chaos. Tables toppled, plates shattered, and the flickering lights above struggled against the dark energy wrapping around the creature. Its growls morphed into a gut-wrenching howl, as if it felt the shadow's grip. In a last-ditch attempt for escape, it lunged sideways, crashing against the diner's counter, sending a cloud of dust dancing in the air. "Mia!" Ryan shouted, eyes wide with a mix of fear and urgency. The weight of reality pressed down on him, tangible as the looming creature. "You have to keep it back." She nodded, her hands shaking. The shadows pulsed against her skin, seeming to come alive, curling like serpents, hot and afraid. The creature twisted on the floor, muscles taut as it readied for another attack, its razor-like teeth bared in fury. The temperature in the diner dipped further, an unnatural chill that clawed at their skin and sent shivers racing up their spines. Mia could feel it, the shadows were shifting. What started as her weapon began to feel more like a noose tightening around her throat. "I can feel it," she whispered, the panic creeping into her voice. "It's trying to merge with me. Don't let it." Ryan yelled, desperation surging through his tone. He ducked another swipe from the beast, adrenaline flooding his body. "You control it." With every ounce of fury, she summoned the history of her bloodline, the struggles, the battles, the countless sacrifices made by those before her. She could hear their voices, echoes of strength woven through time. "I command you," she cried, her voice rising above the cacophony. But the beast howled again, a sound that shook her resolve. The intelligence in its eyes glimmered ominously. It had witnessed her wavering confidence, sensed her fear. It lunged, a terrifying blur of claws and teeth, and Mia instinctively grounded herself, forcing the shadows into a protective shield. Their connection pulsed, both a tether and a threat. The creature's claws scraped against her barrier, the sound like nails on a chalkboard. Each strike sent shivers down Mia's spine, pushing her closer to the edge of her control. "Mia!" Ryan's shout broke through her haze of concentration. In his eyes, she saw a reflection of her struggle, but also something else, a mix of belief and fear, the kind that filled every corner of a haunted diner. "You have to focus, or it's over." That last word hit her like ice water. "Over." Inhaling sharply, she tried to expel the suffocating darkness. "No, this is not how it ends." With newfound clarity, she expelled a wave of shadows, channeling all her fear into a fierce blast. The creature was pushed back, howling with rage, forced to retreat momentarily. But it was then that she noticed a dark vein pulsating along the creature's shoulder, glimmering slightly under the diner's shuddering lights. The shadows weren't just surrounding it. They were converging toward its heart, feeding it energy, strength. "No," she murmured, realization slashing through her. "They're connecting." And just like that, an idea ignited in her mind. What if she could sever that bond? What if she could pull the shadows away from the creature and bind them to herself, forever altering the balance of power? Ryan, she gasped, a flicker of determination surging within her. If I can pull the shadows away from it, we might have a chance. Before he could respond, she concentrated, focusing inward. Bolts of dark energy flickered around her, the shadows swirling in a tempest of rage and resolve. Let go of it, Mia cried as she reached out, reaching deep. But as she did, the creature surged forward again, sensing the shift, the fear of what was to come. In its eyes, Mia saw something chilling, a certain awareness, a hunger for something more than just her defeat. Was it trying to communicate with her? To lure her deeper into the abyss? Mia? Ryan's voice broke through the impending chaos just as the creature lunged again, its movements suddenly unnervingly graceful. It was adapting, evolving, with dark intelligence she couldn't fathom. In a last moment of desperate clarity, Mia had to decide, could she flip the script and trap the darkness instead? The air thickened, shadows reaching out like fingers, cold, dark, and whispering promises. And in that heartbeat of hesitation, the beast leaped at them, the world narrowing down to a single moment of chaos. Could she really withstand the pull of power it promised, or was it too late? Mia braced herself as the creature lunged, its jagged form slicing through the shadows like a nightmare unleashed. In an instant, the diner blurred into an explosion of sound and fury. Glass shattered, tables splintered, and walls trembled under the force of their impending doom. Ryan, now, she yelled, her heart pounding in synchronicity with the chaos around them. Time seemed to stretch as the world spun in frantic fury. Memories of whispered secrets and haunting tales echoed in her mind. With every ounce of will, she conjured the shadows swirling within her, feeling the power vibrating through her veins. This was her birthright, her inheritance, and every ancestor, every sacrifice was her foundation. She refused to falter. Let go of it. The command sounded fierce and sure despite the tremor in her heart. She could feel the beast's confusion swirling alongside her rage, tendrils of darkness grasping at its heart, whispering promises of strength. The creature hesitated, its movements momentarily faltering as Mia summoned everything, her anger, her fear, the anguish of her family's past, and focused it all into a blazing spear of shadowed light. It pulsated in sync with her heartbeat, powerful and vibrant. I command you, she shouted again, feeling every ounce of her spirit channeling into that moment. The shadows split and surged, pushing toward the creature with a life of their own. Suddenly, amid the chaos, the beast flinched, as if drawn back from an unseen barrier. It howled, a sound both tormenting and eerily captivating, and for a moment, it seemed to question her defiance. Keep pushing. You've got this. Ryan's voice injected a bolt of courage into her, and she felt a flood of warmth swell inside. The connection grounded her, the belief in their fight together illuminated the darkness that threatened to consume them. The shadows pulsed as Mia stood taller, arms stretched wide, enveloping the room in a thick haze of darkness, where every flicker emanated power. With a final, fierce shout, she thrust the shadows forward like a spear aimed at the beast's south heart, the place where its hunger roiled and churned. Time slowed as the shadows enveloped the creature, intertwining in a tempest of furious energy. The beast shrieked, the sound raw and visceral, a shattering of the very barriers that had held it in darkness. For Mia, everything became crystal clear. She wasn't just fighting against the creature. She was embracing her lineage, challenging the darkness to bend to her. Feel the past, and let it guide you, she shouted, unrelenting as memories swirled in a chaotic dance, her ancestors standing against the torrents of horror. The shadows surged forth, and the creature seemed to struggle against their embrace, howling with pain as they began to withdraw, the dark tendrils wrapped around its heart. In that moment, Mia felt a clarity unlike anything before. This was a battle of wills, a clash of destinies. The very fabric of reality shifted, and with a final, commanding push, she broke the tether binding the beast to the shadows. The creature screeched as light broke across the diner, illuminating the dark corners and painting them in vivid clarity. Mia took a step forward, unyielding strength coursing through her. The writhing form of the beast transformed, it shrank and twisted, and with a final haunting howl, dissolved into a swirl of dark energy, consumed by the very shadows it had commanded. Breathing heavily, Mia stood rooted in the center, feeling the remnants of her powers settle around her. The diner was still, the air heavy with echoes of their battle, yet a sense of serenity blanketed the chaos. Ryan stumbled beside her, breathless, eyes wide with disbelief. "We did it," he breathed in awe, the words a fragile testament to their shared victory. A warmth washed over Mia, one that soothed her shattered heart, even as echoes of loss touched her thoughts. But she knew that was not forgotten. It was a wound she would carry, a mark of battle. "Mia," he whispered, and she felt the weight of everything lifting, the burden shared, transforming into hope. They stared into the remnants of the chaos surrounding them, understanding that darkness would always linger, but now they could harness it, challenge it. Mia turned to him, a sense of purpose igniting within her. "We have to tell the others. We can't let this happen again." She took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the past entwine with her present. "And we will," Ryan promised, determination solidifying their bond. As they stepped from the diner into the pale dawn, Mia felt the shadows still whispering a reminder that the darkness within could be embraced, not feared. Together, they would face whatever horrors lay ahead, each step forward a promise to wield the shadows, to transform their fears into strength. And with that, they stepped into the light, leaving behind the lingering terror of their past, ready to forge a new future where they controlled the narrative. A future where choices could be made not driven by fear, but fueled by resilience. Now, the time is yours. Do you want more exclusive stories just like this? You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next adventure. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more true fans. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about Mia's journey. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Together, let us build a community that embraces these tales.